Welcome back to the channel. I'm just Mopar Joe. So we're back on a 413. If you saw my last video, I got that cam degreed, but you'll notice it is out of the block now. So what I'm going to do with it, get it cleaned up. I like to take my brake parts cleaner, coat the whole cam, wipe it all the way down, be sure there's no film or residue on these lifters, on these lobes that would interfere with the break-in in any way. They do give you their driven assembly grease. I'm going to use this on the cam this time. I actually have another pack of it that I may go ahead and put 2 packs on from my other cam. Go ahead and get it lubed up. I have my lifters soaking. I always soak my lifters. A lot of guys don't. That is okay if you don't. I'm gonna soak mine. So they are soaking now. Here's our cam number. The Lenati 102-307-02. And they call it their V265H12. Here are the specs on that, if you'd like to see them. Pretty nice cam. Let's see, 475, 494, 265, 271 advertised duration. So it's not super rowdy, but it is a pretty nice little unit. I'll put the specs up for you on it. Here, lobe separation is 112, and the center line was 108. We checked it; it was 107.5 by our measurements, so it's good to go. I got the timing setting here. The bottom gear is on still. This is the Howard's 94340. Great unit. Let me show it to you real quick, if I can. There we go. So not only is the chain itself, this is a true roller. Hopefully you can see that behind my finger. So that's a true roller. On the back side of this unit, it has the little slider. I don't know what you'd call it, slider bearing or whatever, but pretty slick, especially if your cam itself is pulling that back against. That's going to relieve some friction there, free up some horsepower. So I'm going to go ahead and get it thrown on after I get the cam put in. I'm not going to do the lifters yet until I get the oil pan bolted on. Right now it has 4 bolts holding it on from the bottom, and all that's doing is keeping a lot of my oil and stuff from just dripping and hitting the floor. I've done that in the past. It just kind of keeps it a little bit tighter. I'll wipe that out later before I put my windage tray on, but today I'm going to get that cam stuck in, get it lubed up, timing chain cover on, oil slinger on, bolt that stuff up. Then I can get her flipped over, put my oil pan on, and all that jazz. So y'all hang out. We'll get some work done. Spins freely just by my fingertips. I'll pull out my makeshift cam handle which is just a 3/8 bolt that's as long as I can find. Went ahead and dunked my chain in my Lucas, take that piece of trash off here, my Lucas 50/50 mix. See how yummy and stringy that is there? Look at that. Maybe I can do it from the back side. Nice and lubricated before it ever spins. If you get a chance, I recommend it. There's my timing dot. If you'll remember in the 360 videos, I actually marked that with a marker to make it a little bit easier to see. I can see it just fine in this one. So I'll get my cam spun around here. Got those on. If you'll remember, I guess I can show you. Where this meets the block, I'm also going to smear a little bit of assembly lube. You'll see it here. So that it's not dry whenever it touches it. Going down. And one more tooth of that. Perfect. Got my 3 bolts. These were factory bolts. You don't see that very often. One, two, three. There we go. I'll do away with my gloves. If you choose to torque these, they go to 35 foot-pounds. I did look it up. Nice orange timing chain cover. You're supposed to use the correct instrument to drive your seal in. And beyond that, I've got my gasket ready to stick onto my cover and to the block. What I'm going to use is this gray Permatex, ultra gray, just like I have on everything else. This is actually the oil slinger for this engine. The Big Block Mopar book does not show one, but this one had it. It's going to get it again. I like these. It'll go on just like that. If I can push it up on there. There it is. So online they tell you the oil slinger helps keep engine oil pressure, whatever, crankcase ventilation, whatever, from pushing against this seal. So whether or not that's true or not, I'm not really sure. I've put them together with and without. This one's going to get it. I normally, if you have one, I would recommend doing it. But I'll go ahead real quick and get my little bit of gray on here. Just a little smear here and there. Not a lot. This is just to stick the gasket. If there's any uneven surfaces or something, it'll fill that in pretty nicely. We don't want that stuff floating around inside our engine, that's for sure. There we go. Set her aside. Like I said, very thin coat. It'll go where, if there's no gasket, it's got one now. This takes 8 bolts, and I happen to have the bolts in this bag. Mike hooked me up. Quantity of 8. The 4 bottoms are larger. I believe they're 3/8 bolts, and the top are 5/16 bolts. There we go. Getting some good stuff done this video. I like it. Getting close to hearing this thing run. I got some extra there. I'll move it down. Very thin, extra thin coat. Okay. Obviously, we don't care about that surface because the oil pan goes on the bottom. I'll bring our gasket over and put a thin coat on the block itself. I've already wiped this with my brake cleaner. The cover on a Big Block has these two holes and two dowel pins to nicely and evenly line it up on the front, which I really like. I was not used to that. I was building a small block. Some of the guys let me know, before you bolt your small block cover on, you should go ahead and install your balancer so that it will center that front cover. On a Big Block, this is a better ball game. See how nice and tight that is? Pop on there. That's it. Big bolts, little bolts. You'll notice when I painted this, I actually taped over this nice clean edge so that it wouldn't have paint and would mess my seal up. I've got red grease on my finger. I've also already greased that seal itself. And I'll smear it all the way around like this before it goes on. I'll even put a little dab inside, just a little, not a lot, not over greasing this. Put a little in there and it'll let it slide on the crank snout easier. Some guys use anti-seize, some guys use silicone, some guys use whatever. This one got the red grease. Now it lines up like this. There it is. And I recommend you use the proper installing tool of your choice to put your balancer on. And there we are, our big balancer bolt, which this one's still blue. I can paint it after I get it installed. If I painted it now, it would get messed up. The big balancer bolt gets torqued to 135 foot-pounds. And that reminds me, as I hear that moving there, I like to put a little bit of engine oil on it. Just a dab. Help keep it from galding. You can use anti-seize. Some guys say that word Loctite. I've never put Loctite on one of these. I fear that that would be bad. But you can. If it's your bag, go for it. This one is getting 135 foot-pounds and a little bit of engine oil. That's very nice. I can screw it all the way in with my fingertips. There it is. Torque it down, move on.